Shovel Knight is a rare retro throwback that takes inspiration from the past without being stuck in it. Featuring an endearing cast, clever level design, and an outstanding soundtrack, the game takes players on a grand adventure that's easily one of the best of 2014. Plague of Shadows, the new DLC, stars one of the villains from the main game and turns everything on its head. It offers a completely new playstyle and mode, both of which turn out to be valuable additions. Even better, it does all of this for free. As the name implies, the hero of the DLC is Plague Knight, who wasn't prominently featured before, but gets plenty of room to shine here. His maniacal demeanor is an appreciable change from the valiant nature of Shovel Knight, and his sharp, incisive retorts remain amusing throughout. Much of the charm of the main game comes from the colorful ancillary characters found in town. Since Plague Knight is a villain, he isn't welcomed the same way, and is largely relegated to an underground lab, but it's just as memorable. There, his servants skitter about, and giant vats of mysterious liquids brew in the background. Mona, Plague Knight's chief assistant, also resides in the lab. Previously, Mona oversaw a minigame, but she plays a much bigger role here. She researches and sells upgrades that are essential to move forward, and the chemistry between her and Plague Knight is a joy to watch. Even though Plague Knight must conquer the same levels as Shovel Knight, there are enough new additions to keep things interesting. The way Plague Knight responds to certain situations and characters is amusing, plus major twists keep you on your toes. More importantly, the way Plague Knight plays gives the game an entirely different feel. Whereas Shovel Knight swings his trusty shovel at enemies and uses it to bounce off their heads, Plague Knight throws bombs and explosively bursts through the air, damaging foes and providing a boost useful for platforming. The bombs are customizable and consist of 3 parts: the casing, which dictates the trajectory of the bomb, the powder that determines how the bomb explodes, and the fuse, responsible for when the bomb goes off. Players can purchase a variety of upgrades for each of the 3 parts, and combine them in innumerable ways. Certain sections of levels are made much easier depending on how your bombs are configured, and figuring out the best combination is most of the fun. Since there's so much room to experiment, Plague Knight is a more complex character than Shovel Knight, and there are plenty of opportunities for players to get creative. In addition to the bombs and bursts, Plague Knight also wields different arcana that serve as replacements for the relics found in the main game. While relics primarily act as sub-weapons, the various arcana give Plague Knight a different kind of support. One arcana drains enemy health, and another creates a temporary platform that saved our life on more than one occasion. Our biggest gripe with Plague Knight is that in order to be successful, it's imperative to switch up bombs, depending on the situation. As a result, you'll open the menu repeatedly, and it grows tiresome after a while. Despite the impressive capabilities of Plague Knight, there are times when we miss the straightforward approach of Shovel Knight. In addition to playing as Plague Knight, the DLC also comes with a challenge mode, which consists of bite-sized levels with specific objectives. One forces players to survive an onslaught of enemies, and another requires getting through an obstacle course by only jumping and bouncing off things as Shovel Knight. The challenges are a blast to play through since they're difficult enough to be satisfying, but not overly brutal and discouraging. Plague of Shadows is a great addition to an already wonderful game. There's a lot to experience, and considering the asking price is absolutely nothing, it's a generous offering. It's so good, in fact, that we've enjoyed Plague of Shadows more than most other DLC, which sometimes feel like you're being charged a lot for little in return. With our love of shoveling rekindled, we hope to see more of this classically inspired gem very soon.